Now, continuing with our conversation concerning coloring of your Mandelbulb scene or object, we were talking about this color start and this color end. And we know now that that's a little histogram in there. And that histogram is showing me a kind of a very rough view of the light intensity. I did say light intensity, I didn't say color. Light intensity across the whole range of the scene. And what we want to do, ideally, we don't have to, is we want to have our coloring, our colors, the brightness of our colors to be consistent with the light intensity across the scene. So if I do something like this, all right, I've actually got color intensity or color brightness that is beyond the range of the luminance range of my Mandelbulb scene. If I click on this adjust sliders to fit the histogram's input end points, then I am consistent in the intensity or brightness of my colors to the intensity or luminance of my lighting of my scene. If that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, do a little bit of reading up on it and kind of understand. There's tons of information about what a histogram is. And, you know, once you understand this control here, you can do some pretty interesting things. From an artistic standpoint, if I just take that control there and I nobody says that I have to be consistent with the histogram. The histogram is only a guide to show me what the intensity of the light is across the scene. It says nothing about colors. But, I mean, artistically, I can do whatever I want here. All right, or I could just kind of get a start and click on this button here, and I can adjust the start and the end of the color range, spectrum, I guess you could call it, all right, to be consistent with the histogram or the luminance within the scene. Enough of that. Be artistic. Don't worry about, there's nothing about this Mandelbulb 3D that has to follow any particular rules of photography or visual effects or any of that stuff. This is an artistic, a digital art palette and canvas, and it's the only thing that matters is that you understand the tools well enough. Tools, I mean these controls and sliders. You understand the tools well enough where you can get some very interesting artistic results from it. You're not going to get any job promotions or anything by understanding any of these controls within the Mandelbulb environment. That's not the point. The point is to understand what your tools are so that you can produce some very interesting Mandelbulb graphics so that you can either just simply have fun making Mandelbulb, the 3D graphics, or you actually move toward something that you publish, whether it be a still or an animation. Just have fun with it, or treat it like it's something that you're actually producing an end result, and you can have fun doing that too. What I have found over a lot of years in using software and photography. I'm a software developer by profession. Uh, I don't know, 38, 39 years in working with computers and software and writing software. And all that time also involved with photography and then moving into digital photography in the early 2000s. Here's my point. I have sat behind a great deal of software. And what I have found over the years is that the more you understand about the tools, the features, the functionality of the software that you're working with, the more you get from, the more value, the more benefits you get from the software. It's like anything else. If you put the investment of understanding something, understanding a tool, you're actually going to be able to use the tool more efficiently, um, more frequently, or with less with less damage to what it is that you're trying to fix or build. Uh, so if the better you understand your software tools, the more you're able to do with the software environment. And the more you can do with it, the more you can create with it, and the funner it can actually be. There is nothing worse than sitting behind a piece of software and being frustrated. What does this mean? What does this do? Why does it work that way? Oftentimes refusing to go read up on the manual because we don't have time. We would rather sit down in this age of instant gratification. We'd rather sit to a piece of software and start creating. Uh, Reading up on it, secondary, all too often. The more you understand about your software, the more you can do with the software. And I'm going to add one more point to this too. Again, I have sat behind many, many, many pieces of software of all different levels of complexity. Some that are so complex, it's like, wow, if I don't read the manual, I'm not moving forward at all. You can get some pretty crazy stuff. What I've learned over the years is that software does not need to be intimidating. Uh, don't be intimidated by the Mandelbulb 3D software. If you don't understand what a particular feature or function does, experiment with it, play with it, change it, observe, figure it out. Unfortunately, with the Mandelbulb 3D, we still don't have a good documented source that we can turn to. There is a couple things up on the web where they have attempted to document the Mandelbulb 3D. Unfortunately, it just didn't get the attention that I think it deserves. And so this documentation is incomplete. There is no help system built into the application. What they opted to do is to give you little what we call tool tips in the software development trade, little tool tips that will pop up and try to give you an explanation. Obviously, extremely limited. They tell you what the control does, but they don't really tell you what its relationship is to other controls. And it really does come down to the point where if you want to truly understand what these controls do, you need to dig into the software. You need to go get it from Git, download it, go get the development environment, open it up and take a look at the code. Or you can read the code in plain text with a notepad or something, and really try to figure out what it is, what that control is. You can't be intimidated by the software. You just don't allow yourself to be intimidated by it. The way you fight intimidation is, I don't understand that control. The way you fight that is you tweak it, you adjust it, you play with it, You observe and you see whether or not another control it has a relationship, and you just experiment with it. Do not expect to go find good documentation. Do not expect to find a whole lot of really power users. Uh, do not expect to find tutorials that will go into the depth that we are. Most tutorials on the Mandelbulb 3D software are very surfacey. They get you to a point where you can make an interesting graphic, but even the tutors don't fully understand what these controls do. So don't allow yourself to get intimidated by the Mandelbulb 3D software. Experiment, tweak, adjust, play, and observe what happens, and just keep going until you land on something that's really good. Take some mental notes and say, aha, that's what that thing does, and that's what that means, and just keep going. All right. The most important thing is to have fun with the Mandelbulb 3D creation, um, and output something that you really enjoy, that you'll treasure for a while. You'll be able to show friends, put it up online if you want, and and be proud of your work. But more importantly, to have a good time while you're working with the software, and to avoid being intimidated, and avoid being frustrated, and avoid quitting too soon. All right, and the way you handle that is you don't let the software frustrate you. We'll continue this discussion in the next session. I'll see you there.